स्वागतम् अद्य बुधवासरः दिनाङ्कः 16 16th of May लुङ् लकार प्रकरणं discussing the लुङ् लकारः मङ्गलाचरणं रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्मि अहम् रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर राम रामेति रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने श्रीराम नाम वरानन ओं नम इति। अथ श्री माहेश्वर सूत्राणि अ इ ण रुल रक ए ओंग ऐ औच हयवरट्ट लण् ञम ङ ण नम जबं घड़दश जब गड़दश ख फ छ ठ थ च ट थव क पै श श सर हल इति माहेश्वर सूत्राणि। Okay, we are right now in last class. We just were on page 155. On page 155, and we were on point number 3. These irregularities. We're talking about this point number 220 from the prior page, which is really the default case. And we get Chilungi, Chilesich, Chilungi, Silechis. So just to refresh our memory again, is that in the Ashtadhyay, starting from the, by the way, this is a new form of the Ashtadhyay that we have now, with the cross-reference to the Siddhanta Kaumudi and the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi numbers. So that's an added convenience that we have now. So in this new Ashtadhyay online, we have the Siddhanta Kaumudi and Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi numbers. Okay, so here in the Ashtadhyay, from this Sutram Chili Lungi to Chile Sich, from here, Chilungi, up to right before the Sarvadhatuke Yak, up to that point are all these various forms in the Lung Lakaras up to this point, up to Chin Bhava Karmanoho. Okay. So now instead of getting Kartari Shab for Sarvadhatuke Yak, we instead get this Chili. And Chili as a default is replaced by Sitcha. So this point in the book, this point number 220 in the book really is this default Adeshaha Sich in place of Chili. So this is, even though it's called the second form in the book, it really is the default form. And within that we did in the last class, we derived these forms, Akarsham, Akarshi and so on. Now we are on point number 3, which is a da, dha, stha, and take the lung with sakara. So this is the sich, chile sich, after changing their final akara to ikaraha. So adishi, adishvahi, adishmahi. This is where we have stopped last time. So that if you look at our sutra suchi now, which is over here, the sutram was stagbhoricha. Stagbhoricha. So look at the number 1 to 17. 1 to 17. When you see a number between 1 to 1 to 1 to 26, we have to know it is something to do with the pratyaya which is being made a kit, nyit or a kit by Panini. Section from 1 to 1 to 1 to 26. So when you see a number like 1 to 17, and of course we know the sutram, which is Asanyoga lit kit, we have used over and over again. So when you see 1 to 17, we know that some pratyaya is being made into a kit pratyaya. But it's just something extra also. It says it cha, stagbhor itcha. Let's look at the vritti of the sutram. It says that, and anuvritti of this ling sicha atmanipadeshu, from there some anuvritti is coming down there. So that is how we get the total meaning. It's important to keep the Ashtadhyay map in front of you at all times, because that is really the only way to get, Naipunyam Asmin Shastre Prapyate. To get skilled in Vyakaranam, we have to keep the Ashtadhyay in front of us at all times. Okay, so Atmanipadeshu is coming over here. So let's see what and sich is coming from sich. So what the final meaning become is that anayoho means thagvoho. Of course, the gu sanya is dada gvadap, dada gvadap, dada gvadap. So all these sanyas are very important. Dada gvadap. So dhatu of the form da or dha, except for dap, they get the gu sanya. So anayoho means thagvoho. Idantadesha. So they take a ikaradesha. Of course, by alontyasya, the ending akara of the dhatu takes the ikaradesha, and sitcha kitsyat. Atmanipade. If Atmanipadam follows, then the sich becomes kit. So when Atmanipadam affix follows, the sich is considered to be a kit when it follows the dhatu shtagati nivrittau, or a dhatu which is the gusanya by dada gvadap. And tatsanniyogena, simultaneously, the ending akara of the dhatu takes the ikara adesha. So we saw the example in the last class. We take the other adita. Recall that when parasyapadam was used, at that time we already derived the forms adat. We got the form adat. That was by the sutram gatistha gupa bhubhyasya parasyapadeshu. So there also we had the sutram gatistha. See, we have stha and gu. Also in that sutram also. So interesting connection. You have 2477. We have the stha and gu also mentioned, but that's parasya padesho. Okay. So now what we are doing right now in 1 to 17 is atmanipade. Anuvritti of Lingsicha Atmanepadeshu. From the Anuvritti of Atmanepadeshu is coming down. From here, Atmanepadeshu is coming down. So this Sthagvo Ho Icha is for Atmanepadeshu. Okay. So because both these sutras, 2477 as well as 1 to 17, talk about Stha and the Bhusanyaka Dhatavaha. But the 2417 is when Parasyapadeshu, and then 1 to 17 is Atmanepadeshu. Okay, so we took an example last time, which we did is nothing really that complicated here. Let's follow the steps here. We take the dhatu adita. Well, in our parampara, we take the pratham purusha first, while in the English books, they take the uttam purusha first. That's why in the Antoine book, he is giving adishi, adishvahi, adishmahi. That is uttam purusha ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam. Okay. So, but if we take the Pratham Purusha Ekavachanam, then we follow the steps, and we take da plus lung. But sutram is lung itself, which we have of course seen in the last couple of classes in detail. Anubandha lopaha. These first steps are all the same, but now because this dhatu judai dane has chavarga panchama nyakara as an it, is a nyit dhatu. Then what happens? By suritagnyataha kartravipraya kriyaphale, it gets atmanipadam. Kartravipraya kriyaphale. And then by sheshat kartriparasyapadam, it can get parasyapadam. So basically this dhatu is ubhayapadi. Because as we have remarked many times, this condition of kartravipraya kriyaphale is not strictly followed in the language. So when a dhatu has a swarita swaraha on its it letter, or a chavarga panchama it letter, the nyakaraha, it basically becomes ubhayapadi. By 1372 Atmanipadam, 1378 Parasyapadam. Okay, one more reminder I constantly remind you is that the swara on the it letter does the pada vyavastha, Parasyapadam, Atmanipadam. While the dhatoho swaraha on the dhatu swaraha, that determines the in nisheda by ekacha upadeshana datta. So always keep these two clear, don't confuse these two. One is the swara on the it letters, that determines the Atmanipadam, Parasyapadam. And that's there in the Ashtadhyayi in 1.3, starting with 1.3.12. While the swara on the dhatu vowel itself, that determines whether the in nisheda comes or not. And that is by 7 to 10. Eka achu padeshana datta. But right now we're talking about the it letter. We're having a chavarga panchama. So therefore by suritagnyataha kartavipraya kriyaphale atmanipadam, you put the adesha in place of la, tip, tashji, etc. Because we're talking pratham purusha ekavachanam. Okay. And then chi lungi. The moment you say lungi, you should say chi lungi, chile sich. Of course, chi lungi comes in all the time. Chile sich only comes as the default. In this case, chile sich is not overruled by anything. Chile sich. Anubandha lopaha, upadeshe janunasika it, halantyam tasya lopaha. And then, because this dhatu is anudatta upadeshaha, always keep this list also in front of your eyes at all times, which is a list of this karika. Talking about this one, I'm sorry. 7 to 10. Ekachu upadeshanudattat. And ajanteshu udrudantehi yauti rukshnu shing snu nu kshu shvi ding shribhi vring bhyancha vina. Barring these ekachaha ajanteshu nihataha anudattaha smrutaha. So this dhatu da is not in this list. So therefore it's a anudatta upadesha. Now we are talking about the swara on the akara of the dhatu itself. So therefore the idagama is stopped. Anytime your pratyaya which is valadi has a valadi pratyaya has a sanya of ardha dhatu come, always stop and check for the idagama. So so idagama is stopped. Anudat ekacha upadeshe anudattat stops the ardha dhatu kasyed valadehe. And then what happens is that now we check all the conditions. Is that we have the dhatu da, which is the gu sanya by dada gvadap, okay, and sagvoricha says sichakit syat atmanepade and anayor idanta adeshaha. So we do two things. We make ikara adeshaha, for this da it becomes di, and the sich becomes kit, and then by the fact that it becomes, of course, by alontyasya, only the ending ikara is, only the akara is replaced by ikaraha, only the ending akara is replaced by ikaraha. And then because sich is a kit here, therefore kniticha stops pugantalagupadasya, and then we add the adagama as usual, lung lung rung kshudadattaha, and then anubandha lopaha, we get a di sata. And then we did a sutam rasvadangat. This is a set of 4 rules here, starting with dhicha, jalo jali, rasvadangat, and ita iti. They come in the tripadi section. So from dhicha, jalo jali, rasvadangat, ita iti. And these jalo jali, rasvadangat, ita iti, even though it says sasya, it really is, according to Mahabhashyam, it's the sichaha sakarasya, talking about the lopaha of the sakara of sich, and rasvadangat. Rasvadangat is sutram, which is 8 to 27. So when you think about sich, we should think about, you have to keep these rules in mind. Okay, so when the sich can take lopaha. So rasvadangat says sicho lopaha jali. Requires jali still. Okay, that's one condition, because the jalo jali, then rasvadangat. Jalo jali rasvadangat. So we have to say jali parataha, and jal follows. So basically you should have a rasvantam angam, followed that sakara of sich, followed that by jal letter. The sakara of sich will take lopaha. So what do we have right now? We have a, di, sa, ta. Angam for the sich was this. It is this one, and then we get the we followed by jal. So when following an angam ending in a short vowel, affix sich takes lopaha when jal letter follows. So when we have a, di, sa, ta, it becomes adita. This is basically where we stopped last time. Okay, so where we stopped last time. Now in the forms given in the book, all the same steps that we just did. Only thing is that he has taken the Uttapurusha Ekavachanam. Remember, the Rasvadanga is only Jali Parataha. So in this, when we take the Uttapurusha Ekavachanam, we get up to this point, the steps will be the same. The steps are the same up to this point. We'll get a, di, sa, e. Uttapurusha Ekavachanam, the pratyaya is it. Adabandha lope, e. So this is not Jali Parataha. It doesn't have Jali. So there is no lopaha of the sakaraha. We just do adesha pratyaya yoho. We get the form adishi. Very straightforward. Get the form adishi. So in this, only difference here is that we don't have the rasvadanga, because that's only jali parataha. Same thing, adishmahi. Here also the makara and the vakara is not a jal, because jal only starts from jabain. Well, all the nasals come prior to that, So therefore, here also there is no rasvadanga, rasvadanga. Only one thing I want to add to this point before we move on to the next point is that consider the Madhya Purusha Bahuvachanam. So if we add the Dvam instead of taking the Pratham Purusha Ekavachanam, let's say if we add the Dvam, so then we get all the same. So we'll get Di, Sa, Dvam. All the same steps. Di, Sa, Dvam. Now what's going to happen is that because of the Dicha Sutram, this Sakara is going to take Lopaha by Dicha. Dicha, we already done Dicha. Let me look at Dicha. That's 8-25. 8-25. I'm sorry. Dicha, I think we Dhadau Pratyay Pare Sasya Lopaha. Sakara is elided when followed by Pratyay being this Dhakara. Dicha. You can look at the sequence of sutras here. Is Sanyogantasya Lopaha, which is very well known, Prasiddham Sutram, is 8-23. Then comes Rajsasya. Then comes Dicha. So Anuvritti of Lopaha comes down from here and Sasya. So Dhado Pratyay Pare Sakarasya Lopaha. So when we have if you take Madhya Purushaha Bahuvachanam, if you use Dvam, the Sakara will take Lopaha by Dicha. And then what will happen is that we have to consider this sutram, which is 8-3-78. 8-3-78. This is not given in the book. I just want to mention it on the side in connection with this point. Is Inashi Dvam Lunglitam Dhongat. We did this sutram and we did the Ashirling, because it says Inaha. So following the Inanta Dangat, we follow Inantam Angam. Paresham Shidvam, this is the Ashirling, and then Lung, Litam, Dasya Dasyat. Now remember the lit, most of the time lit is only Pratham Purushaha because of Parokshe lit. So the sutram is not really that important in lit, but an Ashirling is very rarely used anyway. So this sutram has really more application only in the lung. And it says that if you have Innanta Dangat Paresham, an Angam ending in in, then the Dhakara belonging to one of these, the Shidvam, which is in the Ashirling, or a Lung Pratyaha, or Lit Pratyaha, takes the Murdhanya Dhakara Deshaha. So following an Angam ending in an in letter, a Dhakara belonging to the term Shidvam or belonging to Lung or Lit takes Dhakara as substitute. So if we consider Madhya Purusha Bahuvachanam and follow all the same steps, we get this Dvam. And then we'll apply Dicha to Sakar Lopaha, and after that we'll use this sutram which we just looked at, Inashidvam Lunglitam Dhongat. Inashidvam Lunglitam Dhongat. Inashidvam Lunglitam Dhongat. Okay, I put that in a document here because this is not in the book. So basically I put it here. If you Adidvam, you take the same dhatu, but instead of we take the Madhyam Purusha Bahuvachanam and follow all the same steps, and we'll put that here also. Use Dicha, 8-25 Dicha for the Sakar Lopaha. And then after that use Inashidham Lunglitam Dhongat for the Murdhanyadesha. So this Dham is by this sutra. Okay, so just put that as a note. To complete the entire table, you will need this one. So this one is Dicha. Okay, so let's continue now. Now what let us do is that let us skip this point. We'll come back to point number 4. Because these are some special cases here. So let us leave this point number 4. We'll come back to this one. Okay. Because let us study these other rules first. Then we'll come back to this point number 4. Let's go to the next point below. So basically, we have finished everything here except to this point number 4. Okay. This 8-3-79 we are going to see right now in this example down here. We're going to see this example down here. Okay. So So only thing we are skipping for the time being, we'll come back to it, is this number 4 over here. Okay, let's look at this 221. 3 says nothing special. It's exactly the same thing as point 220, which we just did, except that now we are looking at a dhatu which allows the idagamaha. Just say it dhatu. Always a reminder is that the dhatu does not take the idagamaha. Idagamaha is taken by the pratyaha. The dhatu either allows or disallows the idagamaha. So the only difference between 220 and 221 is the idagamaha. If you want to make a note of that, this 221 is just the same as this 220, except that now we have the idagamaha. Okay, so he's calling it the third form. As I said, there's no such thing really as, second, third, like that. But in the book he has put in that order. So the third form is characterized by insertion of ish. It's not really ish as such, it is just the chile sich only, but these are dhatus which allow the idagamaha. Then of course at the end we are going to get adesha pratyayoho, going to get the murdhanya shakaradesha. So roots ending in consonants or in other vowels than akaraha. Now why the akara is talking about that? Because we are going to see a special case. We're going to see a special case which is this one, which is 7-2, this one over here. 7-73. 7-73 you're going to see, which says that Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha. So Adanta Dhatavaha will take this special situation. So that's why let's leave that for the time being. That's why in the book he says that exclude, because this is Atam. Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha. This is 7-73. 7-73. That's going to give some special forms when the dhatu ends in a akaraha. So Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha we are going to see shortly, probably today itself. So this one. So but that is why this akaranta dhatavaha, they take a special situation by 7-73. That's why in the book he's saying that roots ending in consonants or in vowels other than a. Okay. And then the final vowel takes vriddhi. Already we have seen this sutram, which is sichi vriddhif parasmapadeshu. Sichi vriddhif parasmapadeshu. Sichi vriddhif parasmapadeshu. This is a section which opens up from 7-1 to 7-7. Sichi vriddhif parasmapadeshu. Now in this sutram, Pani doesn't say what is the sthani, in which letter is taking the vriddhi adesha. Therefore we get the paribhasha iko guna vriddhi. Iko guna vriddhi. With the paribhasha iko guna vriddhi, the ik letter only will take the guna adesha by iko guna vriddhi. And not only that, a second paribhasha is yena vidhistadantasya. Yena vidhistadantasya, which means that the ending, when you use a visheshanam to prescribe a vidhi, then that it stands for a term which is exactly that or ending in that. Yena vidhistantasya. When you combine all of that, then the meaning of this one becomes is that igantasyangasya vriddhisyat. Shichi parasyapadeshu. So basically this sutram 7-1 will then become that if you have an igantam angam followed by sich, followed by parasyapadam, we get the vriddhi adesha. Because iko guna vriddhi applies to guna vriddhi. So iko guna vriddhi along with the yena vidhistadantasya. So now good thing is that we have all these sutras in our document here. So we can go that yena vidhistadantasya. This sutram also we have studied. It says that visheshanam tadantasya swasanyasyat swasya cha rupasya. So it says because what happened was 7-1 sichi vriddhi parasyapadeshu. By 113 we got ikaha. But now ikaha will become igantasyangasya, because ikaha is qualifying the angam. It's a visheshanam for the angam. That's why the vrittikara says igantasyangasya vriddhisya sichi parasyapadesho. See, all these vrittis are written with enormous amount of care, enormous amount of precision. So please always give your respect to the vrittikara who have spent their lives for us to write these vrittis for us. So when you read a sutram, read the vritti, see if it makes sense to you. So okay, in fact I hope you're following our daily posts as usual. and our comments. So I think just yesterday or sometime we let me see if I can quickly search for you. Put a nice comment on this topic. Sichi Vriddhif Parasmai Padesho. Let me see here. Sichi Vriddhif Parasmai Padesho. Let us see. Sichi Vriddhif Parasmai Padesho. Sichi Vriddhif Parasmai Padesho. Yeah, I think it is right here. Yeah, this is the comment. If you look at this post on Ashraushma, okay, Ashraushma, which was posted on May. This comment came on I think a couple of days back. So this one is asked the question about the vritti, Sichi Vriddhi Prasyapadeshu. Says Igantasyangasya Vriddhisya Prasyapadeshu Sichi. Tattvabodhini commentary. Tattvabodhini is a commentary on the Siddhanta Kaumudi. Says Iko Guna Vriddhi iti paribhashopasthanad aha igantasya. Vrittikara says igantasya. How do you get that? Because ikoguna vriddhi iti paribhashopasthanad. Because the paribhasha, ikoguna vriddhi presents itself. It comes into play. It comes into play because Pani did use the term vriddhi, but did not specify the sthani who's taking the operation. Anyway, it's all over here if you want to read that. As per the paribhasha ikoguna vriddhi, guna vriddhi of substitution is prescribed without specifying the place of the operation. Then using the term guna vriddhi, it should be understood to be in the place of the ik letter only. So Sichi Vriddhi Parasmai Padeshu, a vriddhi operation has been specified using the term vriddhi, but without specifying the sthani. Hence we say the paribhasha iko guna vriddhi comes. That's what is meant by Iko guna vriddhi iti paribhasha upasthanad. Upasthana means it comes into play. It presents itself. It exerts its force. Then the paribhasha yena buddhistadantasya says that a qualifier by means of which an injunction is made stands for a term which ends in it as well as for itself. The sutram Sichi Vriddhi Parasmai Padeshu belongs to the adhikar of angasya, hence ikaha qualifies angasya, implies vriddhi shall take place in the term angam ending in ik letter. So, okay, so that's what we are looking at in the book right now. So please, all these comments and posts, I hope you're enjoying them. So coming back to the book now, we are here. A final vowel takes vriddhi. We basically ik letter, you can put your ik letter, and a short medial vowel takes only guna. Okay, now what happened to our sutram 723, which says vada vraja halantasya achaha, halantasya achaha? Then why shouldn't the ach of halantam angam take vriddhi by 723? Now you understand the difference between these 2 points, 221 and 220. As we just said, 220 was talking about, again we are on page number 155, 154 is 220 point number, and 155 is 221 point number. The only difference is that in 221 we are taking those dhatus which allow an idagamaha. Now when the idagamaha comes, that's why you know why I separated these two, you understand? You understand why I separated these 2 points, because when the idagamaha comes, then we get the sutram neti. Let's look at this sutram neti, which I think we have already studied, I believe. Neti, the sutram neti, 724. That's the nisheda sutram for 723. So neti says that we already studied the sutram. Idadav sichi halantasya vriddhirna. This is only a nisheda for the vada vraja halantasya achaha. So in this point number 221 in the book, we are considering those dhatus which allow an idagamaha. So sich as a idagamaha. So neti will stop the vriddhi. Phala halantamangam. So halantasya vriddhirna bhavati. So vowel belonging to a base ending in a consonant does not take the vriddhi substitute when followed by sich, but which has the idagamaha. Because in this point we are talking about the sich having idagamaha, so therefore the vriddhi substitute which is done by vada vrajalantasya achaha is stopped. And that's why I say the short medial vowel takes guna in the atmanepada. In atmanepada, final vowel and the short vowel takes. Well, I'm sorry, I'm skipping to number 2. The final vowel takes vriddhi. That's 721. Sichi Vriddhi Parasmai Padeshu. And a short medial vowel takes guna only, he says, because that 723 is stopped by neti. So that's the difference between these 2 points. Because if you look at the prior point, here he said that the short vowel. See, we made a correction. Then short medial. You don't have short medial. Any ach really. So we made the correction that time. In the prior point, he says both take vriddhi. Final vowel and also if halantamangam, then also ach takes vriddhi. Because that was 7-3. Vada vraja halantasyachaha. But now he says that short medial vowel takes guna, because in parasyapadam, we're talking parasyapadam. That's because only puganta laghu padasya will come. Because that vada vraja halantasyachaha 7-3 stopped by 7-4 neti. Neti stops that. But the book hasn't given all the full details here. But in the Ashtadhyayi, you can look at this sutram also, which is coming a little bit later, which says this one. Ato halade lagoho. Ato halade lagoho. Let's look at that one. This is not in the book really, but I want to just bring it up. Ato halade lagoho. Ato halade lagoho. Ato halade lagoho. Which is 7-7. It's going to be 7-7. Ato halade lagoho. Okay. And this sutram which we already saw in I think the previous class, it says that halader lagho rakarasya vriddhirva idadau prasyapadesichi. Says that akaraha, only akara now. So this is a special sutram 7-7. See in the book he's given us general rules, which is basically a 7-1 is there, and 7-4 stops 7-3 in the sicha idagamaha. But now comes a more specific rule, which is 7-7. It says that anuvritya vibhasha comes down here. Anuvritya vibhasha comes into ato halad lagoho. I just want to, even though this is not in the book, just want to mention this, which you already did in the previous class, I think, is that the akaraha, which has a lahu sanya. Of course, lahu means what? Rasam lahu sanyoge guru. It has to be a short vowel, not followed by a conjunct. And so if you have a lahu akaraha, belongs to an angam which begins with a consonant. Optionally takes vriddhi substitute when followed by a sich, which has the augment it, and it's followed by parasyapadam. So basically the neti nisheda was done. That now becomes a vikalpaha. If you have this condition, if you have a haladi angam, and it has a lagu akaraha, then it takes vriddhi optionally. So we derive these forms, upper teeth, upper teeth, we derived that. So if you want, you can add this point to the book if you want. Over here, this 7-7, ato halade lagoho. So the next point is saying the short vowel, a final vowel and a short medial vowel takes guna. Now there's nothing special about this. See, the thing is that if you study if you study the Paninian way, you don't have to keep on repeating all these things, because of course 7384 sarvadhataka ardhakayoho, and we also know 7386 puganta laghu padasya, which we have been using all the time. So there's no need to say this statement. But then why does he put this here? Is that, remember one thing is that those rules, which is ling sicha vatmane padeshu and ushcha, those do not apply here, because that is jhalada usichi. Okay, what I'm talking about is, I'm talking about these sutras 1-11 and 1-12. Today in the class we just used 1-17 stagboriccha, and these rules 1-11, 1-12, ling sicha vatmane padeshu. Look at the anuvrittis coming of iko, jhal and halantacha. So basically, if you have a halanta dhatu preceded by a ik and followed by a ling or sich, which is jhaladi, then that ling or sich pratyaya becomes a kit, and of course once it becomes kit, then of course we know that by 115 kinticha will stop the gunadesha. But that is only if it's jhaladi. We just said that this point number 221 is talking about when the sich has the idagamaha. So in point number 221, we will not have this 1-2-1-1 and 1-2-12, because it is jhaladi. Okay, let's quickly look at our sutra suchi. This we have done. We did this sutra when we were talking about the ashirling itself, but we can look at it again now. it says that ling sichavatmane padeshu ik samipadhalaf parau. Ik samipadhalaf parau. So you should have an ik followed by a hal. Then you should have jhaladi ling sichau. Kitau sahatangi. If followed by atmane padam. Atmane padeshu. The ling pratyaha or the sich pratyaha, but it should be jhaladi. Right now we don't have that. We are talking about this point number 221 in the book is talking about when the idagama is present. So then, yadagamas tadguni bhutaha tadgrahanena griyante. So yadagamas. So that is this paribhasha. It says that an agamaha, it comes and joins. It comes and it comes and becomes a part and parcel of that. Part and parcel of what you're joining to. So when we add idagamaha, the entire pratyaha becomes a ajadi pratyaya. It's no longer jhaladi. Ajadi pratyaya, no longer jhaladi. So let me read the this is a paribhasha. Yadagamaha tadguni bhutaha tadgrahanena gujyante. So that when an agamaha comes and joins, it becomes a part and parcel. It becomes a part and parcel of the affix to which it joins. Because agama is mitravad agamaha, and shatruvad adeshaha. So yadagamas. Okay, let me read the exact one to you. Exact paribhasha called yadagamas tadguni bhutaha tadgrahanena griyante. So basically the agamas come and become, if they are not a separate item, they come and join. Okay, so basically this point number 3 is that the ling sichavatmane padeshu doesn't apply here because this is now has an idagamaha. It's no longer a jaladi sicha. Okay, that's why we just default back to our sarvadhatukarthakayoho and pugantalagu padasya. Okay, and then the terminations, this is the same thing again and again. You have to keep on repeating this. See, basically terminations of both Prasyapadam, Atmanepadam, those are the second gana because he says that we don't have an ajanta mangam basically. That's all it means. So there's nothing to do with second gana and sich really. All it happens is here, the angam here, when for the pratyaha is, is going to be ending in the sich sakara. It's not a adanta mangam. So for the tiptaji pratyaya, the angam will not be ajanta mangam, will not be an adanta mangam, will not be ending in akaraha. That's why I think he has said this second gana, but there's no connection here. You add the default tiptaji pratyaya, and then only thing is that again he says the same thing about the e, he, and the eat. This is of course the asisicho prukte, which is studied in the last class already. We had that already in the previous class, which is 7.3.96, which already, so the same thing is repeated again. We don't have to repeat this again. Sisicho prukte. Okay, this was coming here. Sisicho prukte. Oh, I know what it is coming here. I'm sorry. Sisicho prukte says that vidyamana sichaha astescha parasya pruktasya halaha idagamaha. So basically after applying itascha, the tip and sip, they become takara, sakaraha, aprukta ekal pratyaha become a single letter pratyaha, and therefore the takara or sakara, which is after applying itascha, the tip and sip, after anubandha lopa and itascha, they become takara, sakaraha. So they will take the idagamaha by this. So this is the same 7396, and also the same thing which is the uhu sijabhyasta with the bhyascha. So this point is exactly the same that we saw in 220. Okay, exact same statement. So all the same thing that we saw there, again same thing here. So basically asisicho prukte eat, asisicho prukte is for the idagamaha, and then the sijabhyasta with the bhyascha following sich, the g becomes jus. Okay, and then of course the adagamaha lung lung rung fradapta. Let's look at the example now. So let's look at the abodhisham, etc., abodhi, etc. Now, so if we look at the steps, should be very straightforward. We take the dhatu buddha. Now, the dhatu buddha, first of all, let us check if this dhatu will allow idagama or not, because this point 221 is about a dhatu which allows idagama. Now, always keep in your mind this 7 to 10, which is the in nishedha. And here we have in dhanteshu, krudha, kshudha, buddhya. So we do have buddhya. So, but in this dhatu buddha, if you look at the dhatu partha, it is coming in the bhvadiganaha. Bhvadiganaha. It is also coming in the Buddha. It is coming in the Divadiganaha. It's coming. So this is Ubhayapadi Dhatu Buddha in the Bhvadiganaha. So let us look at that Dhatu Buddha. Because why? Because actually we can look at either one, because he's talking about. Let me just double check that. Okay, I know it comes in the Bhvadigana. Only this Divadigana is anit. You see, because in this karika, it has been put as buddhya. So buddhya means the ganavikaranaha shan. So only buddha. That's why in this karika it says krudha kshudha buddhya. So only the divadigana buddha will not allow idagamaha, anudattupadesha. But the other one which you're talking about right now, which is this one, this is from the bhvadiganaha. That will allow the idagamaha. Only thing is that we're talking about parasya padam. So this one will not allow idagama. This divadiganaha buddha. But this one, Buddha, in the Bhvadiganaha, that will allow the idagama. Let me just check if that. I thought, okay, give me 1 second, because I just want to make sure that it comes in Buddha in the. Yeah, that Buddha Bodhana is really a part of Veda. So let us take this one. Buddha avagamane. Let's take this one to be safe. Buddha avagamane. So this is a parasyapadi dhatu. It's a said dhatu. Because one more time, that in this karika, it's only buddhya. Buddhya, the shan vikaranaha buddha, is a anudattupadesha. While the bhvadigana buddha is not mentioned yet, because the ya is mentioned here. So buddhya. Okay. Now, let us go back to our book and see. So when we follow the steps, it will follow all the same steps again. You add the pralung, alubandha lopaha, add the pratyaha. Just let's take this one, add the pratyaha, tip to that. In fact, it will be steps will be very similar to this one over here. Very similar to this one which we did over here, like the apartheat, apartheat. Only thing is that there will be no, so the example which we did in this document over here, I think a couple of classes back, we did this form, apartheat and apartheat. It will be all the, instead of taking pat, you take the dhatu, buddha. So if you start from here, we'll take buddha plus lung, alubandha lopaha, the pratyaya tip, alubandha lopaha, all the same steps, chilungi, chile sich, and then alubandha lopaha, idagamaha, and then because again this is a said dhatu, this is not in the list of anudhatu padeshaha. Alubandha adyanta takitau, alubandha lopaha, then of course sisicho prukte, because this is aprukta ekal pratyaha. It's a hal which is apruktaha. So we take the idagamaha by assisicho prukte, then anubandha lopaha, of course adyanta takitau. Then native comes, he stops the vriddhi. In the case of patha, we had vikalpena vriddhi by atohala de lagoho. That's only because patha had akara. This dhatu, buddha has ukara. So there is no question of vikalpena vriddhi, because 7 to 7 only applies. There is the akara in the angam. Okay, right now we don't have that. Otherwise the remaining steps are the same. We get the adagamaha, and then we ita iti sijlopaha, which already we have done. Itaf parasya sasya lopasya iti pare by 8 to 28. The sich agama is sandwiched between the idagamaha and the idagamaha. The sich takes lopaha. And then the problem is that this is a tripadi karyam. So normally the akasame dirgha should not be able to see this form, see this lopaha, but by the vartikam, which is the next vartikam, sich lopaha ekadeshe siddho vachaha, this sich lopa becomes siddha when it comes to an operation which is the ekadesha. Ekadesha. So the akastama dirgha is ekadesha. It comes adhikar of ekaf pura parayoho. So therefore we do the ekadesha, we get the form upper teeth and upper teeth. In this case we got the vikalpa in the vriddhi because of 7 to 7, because the pat has akaraha, but in the book right now there is no akaraha. So simply we just basically the neti stops the vriddhi adesha, which would have been done by vada vrajahalantasyachaha. Then abodhit. The next form, so what is the common work? Abodhis. Abodhis is common. Because you're going to get the guna adesha puganta laghupatasya. Of course, adagama in all cases. And then sich pratyaha. So abodhis is common. And now abodhishtam, because of tasastramipam tam tam tamaha, which is 34101. Let's not forget the fact that lung, of course, is a nit lakaraha. It has the kavarga panchama as a nit. So by tasastamipam tam tam tamaha, because as we have said many times, once you apply tiptajji, you should look at the remainder of this section, and there comes the sutram, which is I think 101. Tasastamipam tam tam tamaha. Okay, that is one. So the tas takes the tama deshaha, and then we get abodhis tam. Then of course adesha pratyajoho, the sakara becomes shakara, and then shunashtuhu, abodhishtam. Abodhishuhu, abodhis plus g, then sig abhyasta vidibhyascha, sig abhyasta vidibhyascha. That following the sich, the g becomes just sig abhyasta vidibhyascha. Remember the niyam of ataha only applies when you do sijlukka. There is no sijluk in this case, so we don't have to worry about ataha. Ataha only comes in play when sijluk has taken place. So here we just use sijabhyasta vidibhyascha, and we get the jer jus anubandalope us by chutu, and then abodhishu rutta visargau abodhishu. Abodhihi, all the same steps as abodhit, pratyay sip, all the same steps. Itascha, and then the asisicho prukte for the idagamaha, and then ita iti sijlopaha, and then the vartikam makes it siddha, and then we do akasamadirgha. Abodhishta, all the same steps. Tasastramipam tam tam tamaha, exactly the same steps as abodhishtam, abodhishtam, abodhishta. Now abodhis plus, again here also the mib becomes with tasastramipam tam tam tamaha, so we become abodhi sa and of course by navibhakta utusmaha, makara is not an it, and then we get adesha pratyayoho, abodhisham. Abodhishva, abodhishma, nothing special. Only thing it's be nityam nyataha, nityam dhiraha, uttam purusha sakara, ending sakara, uttam purusha pratyaha, nityam nyataha. That is 3499. 3499. This anuvritti, in fact, anuvritti of nyataha comes from that into itascha and tasastamipam tam tam tama, nityam nyataha. So that ending sakara or the uttam purusha pratyaha, it goes away. If you want to look at quickly, you see, this good thing is that we're not getting a chance to practice all these rules now again and again and again and again and again. Nityam nyataha, nityam nyataha, nityam nyataha. Let's see. Nityam nyataha, nityam nyataha. Sakarantasya nid uttamasya, nityam lopaha, nityam lopaha. Anurutya of uttamasya comes from here. Sa uttamasya. Okay, so that's the only thing here. Otherwise, same thing. Adesha pratyayoho, abodhishva, abodhishma. Now let's take at this dhatu, shing swapne. Shing. Before we do that, let me just double check these forms, because the one thing we can use the madhavya dhatu vritti to always check your answers is also a mark of respect for Madhavaha, who's put this excellent dhatu vritti, because in the first few lines he gives all the forms, at least the first form. So if you look at the Buddha Avagamane, I'm just double checking that our answer. Always good to double check our answers, make sure everything is correct. Buddha Avagamane. Buddha avagamane, Buddha avagamane. Just make sure to check, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes we miss a point here and there. So, okay, Buddha avagamane. What does he say? Vutsatam vo buddhyate abodhi buddhyeta. I think we should be okay. Buddhyate buvude buddha bodhyate buddhyatam abudhyata buddhyeta buddhishta abodhi abuddha abudsatam. I'm sorry, am I in the wrong place? Buddha avagamane. Oh no, I'm sorry, the wrong place. This is the 275. I'm sorry. Look at Divadigana. I was wondering how the Idangama did not come. Okay, the wrong place. Buddha avagamane. Yes, correct. Bodhati, Bubhoda, Bodhita. So, okay. So, nothing special. Okay, alrighty. So, let us continue. Let's look at this dhatu shing swapne. Now, this is Atmanepadi. This dhatu has a kavarga panchama as an it. Kavarga panchama as an it, because anudatta gnita Atmanepadam. Anudatta gnita. So, this dhatu shing swapne. Shing swapne. Shing swapne. Shing swapne. This is the one over here. Shing swapne. Shing swapne. Shing swapne. Shing swapne. This is the one. Shing swapne. So this is a kavarga panchama as an it. So anudatta gnita Atmanepadam. It's going to take Atmanepadam. Now remember, you have seen a couple of special rules for this one with Shingo Rut. Shingo Rut. That's only if the Jakara, the Pratyaya, immediately follows Shing, you know. So Shingo Rut. Shingo Rut. I'm talking about 7-1-7-1-4-5-6, maybe Shingo Rut. Yeah, 7-1-6 Shingo Rut. Let's look at that sutram. Anytime you have a special, anytime Pani mentions a special sutram, special dhatu, always pay attention to that. So 7-1-6 Shingo Rut. Will that affect us right now or not? Just double check. Shingo Rut says that Shinga parasya jadeshasya ataha rud agamasyat. So if you have the ja, which takes the at adesha, then if it's following this dhatu shing, it takes the rut agamaha. So when you had she plus ate, becomes she rut ate, becomes she rate. That's only if this ja has taken the at adesha, it immediately follows shing. So shinga prasya jadeshasya ataha. So it should be the at which has come in place of the ja immediately following shing. Right now we're going to get the sich in between there. So that Shingo Rut will not affect us because the sich is going to come in between right now. And the second thing is this 7-4, 21, I think. Shinga Sarvadhatuke Gunaha. That's only Sarvadhatuke. These are two special rules for the Dhatu Shing Swapne. And good thing is that both of these have this Shinga. So Shingo Rut will not affect us because that the ja, the at which came in place of just immediately follows shing. We don't have that. And by 7-4-21, in fact 7-4-21 is coming right after a section which you're going to see later on. Today, maybe our next class, we're going to look at this section. But after that comes Shinga Sarvadhatuke Gunaha. But that's only Sarvadhatuke. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Always good to check if any of these apply to you. This section we're going to see in the class, either this class or next class. But after that, so 7-4-16 to 7-4-20, we're going to be seeing maybe today or next class. And after that comes Shinga Sarvati Gunaha. That does not affect us because the fact is Sarvadhatuke. Okay then. Otherwise in the book, then everything should be straightforward now. Basically, we have the ending Ikaraha of Shing will take the Gunadesha by Sarvadhatuka Ardhataka Yoho. There's nothing going to be stopped. There's nothing really going to be stopping that because, there's no sutram ready to make the sich pratyaya as a kit or nit. The only thing that we saw was ling sicha, atmanepadeshu and ushcha, but that only if you have jala, the sich anyway. So that they don't apply over here. So bottom line is that when we have the she plus if we take the Prathapurusha Ekavachanam, all the same steps, we add lung, adubandha lopaha, this case pratyaya ta will come. So this is a gnit dhatu, kavarga panchama is a nit, anudatta gnita atmanepadam, so ta pratyaya will come. And then this is a, oh, one more thing, check the ragamaha, we better make sure of that. So 7 to 10, what do we have? We have here, it says udrudantaihi rauti yauti rukshno shing. So shing is a not anudatta padesha. Shing is not anudatta padesha. It's one of the few dhatus which end in a acha, which is not anudatta padesha. So basically, the nisheda by 7 to 10, nisheda by 7 to 10 does not apply for this dhatu. So we are going to get ardhadhatuka syed valadehe. This valadehe. So that is going to cannot be stopped for this dhatu. So that is why he's including it in this point in 221. So we have she plus ta, then chilungi, chile sich, and then ardhatuka, of course, anubandha lopaha. Then 7 to 35, ardhadhatuka syed valadehe. It cannot be stopped by 7 to 10 because this dhatu is not anudatta padesha. So we get she is the. She is the. Then at the ending ikara of she will take the gunadesha by sarvadhatuka ardhadhatuka yoho. You get she is the. Then echo yavayava. And then there's nothing special over here. Echo yavayava become sha yista. Sha yista. And then finally, of course, we get the adagamaha lung lung rung shuradattaha. Tripadi karyam, we get the adisha pratyaya yoho, and then sunashtuho. So there's nothing really special about this dhatuho. We take one more time, we take she plus lung anubandha lopaha, to adeshaha, because vanudatta gnita atmane padam. Meanwhile, chilungi, chile sich, anubandha lopaha, idagamaha by 7 to 35, ardhadhatuka syed valadehe. It cannot be stopped by 7 to 10 because this dhatu is not anudatta padesha. Then angam takes the gunadesha by sarvadhatuka ardhatuka yoho, becomes she is the. Echo yamayavaha becomes sha is the. Adagamaha lung lung rung shvardataha adyantau takitau sha is the. Then finally in the tripadi karyam adisha pratyaya yoho and shtunashtu ashayishta. What's the common work here? Adagama is going to be there everywhere. Then sha yes is common. Sha yes, because you're going to get the idagama for the sitcha. The angam is going to take the gunadesha. Echo yavayavaha. So sha yes is common. Now we take atam, nothing special. Sha yes atam. Sha yes atam. Just join the atam and only adisha pratyaya yoho shakaraha. Now sha yes plus ja. Ja. Now comes atmanipadeshvanataha. Atmanipadeshvanataha, because we have an angam which is sha yes, and then followed by the ja. The angam does not end in akaraha. So atmanipadeshvanataha, we get the. So what I'm talking about is instead of jontaha comes atmanipadeshvanataha. So 715 adabhyastat, then atmanipadeshvanataha. I'm talking about 715. So because right now we don't have this one, atmanipadeshvanataha, because the ja of the pratyaha is following an angam which does not end in akaraha. Okay, and the ja has atmanipada sanya because tangana atmanipadam. So we get a sha yes ata. Instead of anta, we get ata because of atmanipadeshvanataha. And then just the usual adisha pratyaya yoho asha yishata. Asha yishata. Now here asha yisthas, again the same thing, just adisha pratyaya yoho and then stunashtuho. Asha yishatam, same steps as asha. Asha yishatam, asha yishatam, same steps. Now make a correction in the book, please. Now what happens here is that we get asha yis dhvam. Asha yis dhvam. Asha yis dhvam. Now what happens is that vibhashetaha is going to come here. Because let's look at the sutram. Today we just use the sutram 78378, which is that in a shidhvam lung lutam lung litam dhongat. When we did in the beginning of the class today, we used this sutram. Inashidham lung litam dhongat. When we derived the form adidham. Adidham, when we did that, we used that form. Now we use that sutram. The next sutram says vibhashetaha. Vibhashetaha. Which means that, let's look at the sutram 8379 in the document here, just to get all the conditions in 8379. 8379 vibhashetaha. Vibhashetaha. It says that inaf paraha yaha it. So what should we have? We should have an in letter followed by a it agamaha. Tataf paresha shidham lung litam dasya vadhaha. So we should have the following a idagamaha, which itself is following an angam ending in an in letter. A dhakaraha belonging to shidhvam or belonging to lung lit affix takes dhakara as substitute optionally. So in a shidhvam. So here what we have is, vibhashetaha. So here what we had, the example which we saw in the class at that time was, we had this kama ya I shidhvam become I shidhvam optionally. Okay. So here what do we have? We have right now we have sha ya I dhvam. Now one thing, remember dicha. Let's not forget dicha, by the way. Even before we get to this point, we have to first apply dicha by 8-25. That because this is vibhashetaha is 8379. You know, in the Tripadikaryam, we have to go step by step because of Purvatra Siddham. So first we apply dicha, just like we did over here, just like when we got this form adidhvam. So the thing is that here there was no idagama for the sit, for the sakara. There had no idagama. So but we had sit, sakara sit followed by dhvam, so we did dicha. Same thing here, we have to first apply dicha, okay, and do the sakar lopaha, 8-25, because that sutram also we used in the class today. So first apply dicha, and then do the do sakar lopaha, because sasya lopaha dhadau pratyaya pare, so that we can apply dicha, do sakar lopaha, and then what do we have? We have we had a sha yis dhvam, we applied dicha, become a sha yi dhvam. Okay. Now the yakaraha is a in, because in pratyahara goes from all the way from iun, rulruk, eong, I ouch, hayavarat, lan. And this so here we got hayavarat lan. So we have a in. The yakara is the in, followed by an idagamaha, which itself is followed by a lung pratyaha. Then the dhakara of that will take the dhakara adesha optionally. So please make a correction in the book over here that this should be two forms, asha yidhvam, asha yidhvam, because of 8379 vibhashetaha. One more time, vibhashetaha says that inaf paraha. So which is the in? First you have to catch the in letter. The in is the yakara in this case. In this case, the in letter is the yakara. Is in, because of hayavaratlan. So up to that in goes up to there. So enough paraha. Ya it. So that iragama also we have. Tataf paresham. Lung shidham lung litam dasya vadhaha. So one last time we have a yakara which is the in. It's followed by the idagamaha. See, dicha only removes the sakara. See, dicha does not remove the entire pratyaya, only the sakara is gone. So don't forget, the idagama stays behind. Interesting situation, isn't it? Because the pratyaya is gone, the idagama stays behind. Because this is not the dicha sutram 8-25, is not talking about the pratyaya lopaha. He's talking about sakar lopa only. That's why you see Panini is so careful. He doesn't remove the entire pratyaya, he removes the sakara only. So therefore the idagama stays behind, the sakara is gone. So the agama stays behind, the sakara itself is gone. So after applying dicha, we have a, sha, ya, I, dhvam. So ikara is the in, Yakara is the end, Yakara is the end, followed by the idagama, which is there, followed by the dvam, which is a lung pratyaya. So therefore we get the murdhanya adesha vikalpena. So that's the correction in this book. So tatah parasya dasya vadha. Okay. Otherwise, rest of it is nothing special. Then we just finish this form. Now we get yis plus it, anubandha lopaha, yishi, yishi, adhishpatyayoho, yisvahi, yismahi. Just the adhishpatyayoho. That's it. So only correction is this one. Yidvam, yidvam. Okay, now let's continue from here. So basically what have we finished? We have finished this point 220 and 221. Only thing we left behind was this number 4. We'll come back to this. This number 4 will come back, okay? After we build on some basic form, we'll come back to this number 4, okay? Let us now continue with this document here. Let's continue with this document. So Rasvadangad, we finished. Now, this sutram is not in the book, okay? I'm just mentioning it, so if you want, you can keep it on the side. Remember this section from 7 to 1, Sichi Vriddhif Parasya Padeshu that we did. And then the Vada Brajalantasyachaha, and then the Neti, and then Atohala de Lagoho. In between there comes this sutram which says Myantakshana Shvasajagro Ni Shveditam. So this sutram is not in the Antoine book. We can go through it quickly. All it says is that looking at the number, you can see it's going to be a Nishedha. Just like Neti, it's going to be a Nishedha for this Vada Vajalantasyachaha. So it says that Myantakshana, so Hama Anta. It says that Hama Yantasya. So ending in a Angam, ending in Hakara, Makara, Yakara. Then Kshana Dehe. So Kshan, Shvas, Jagru, and then Shvi. Then Shvayatehe cha. And Nyantasya, ending in a Ni also. Vriddhir na. Idado Sichi Parasnapade. Idado Sichi Parasnapade. So these dhatus also. Hama Yantasya, Kshanadehe, Nyantasya, Shvayate, Swayater, Editascha, I'm sorry, I missed one point. Editascha, dhatu which is edit, as ekara as an it. So one more time. Hamayantasya, Kshana Shvasa Jagru Ni Shveditam. Shvedita means Shvi and Editam. So dhatu, so is Angam ending in the Hakara, Makara, Yakaraha, or Angam is dhatu Kshan Shvas Jagru, or ending in the Ni, or if it's the dhatu Shvi, or of a Edanta dhatu, then these also don't take Vriddhi. Idado Sichi Parasnapade. So when the affix Sich, which begins with the augment it, and is followed with Parasnapadam, follows the Vriddhi substitution is prohibited. Okay, let's look at an example quickly. Again, this is not in the Antoine book. So let's look at example Hase, Hasani. This is the Edit dhatu. Dhatu is Edit. Because of Shveditam, it's an Edit dhatu. So this sutram completely stops the Vriddhi substitute. Okay, let's see what it says. If we take the dhatu Hase, Hasane, and if we follow the steps as usual, take the lung lakaraha, anubandha lopaha, then tip pratyaha, pratham purusha ekavachanam, and then we anubandha lopaha, vayitascha, chilungi, chile sitcha, and then anubandha lopaha as usual. And then of course we get this is not anudat upadesha, because santeshu, what do we have? Santeshu, I think gas vasati dvau, only gas and vasati, only these two are anudat upadesha. So the has is a set dhatu. So we just there is idagama is not a problem. Adinto takitau, anubandha lopaha, and then we get sisicho prukte, idagamaha aprukta pratyaha, adinto takitau. After this one, nothing special. Has, is, eat, all the same steps. Now what happened is that 7 to 3, Vada Vrajahalantasyachaha wants to come and do the Vriddhyadesha. But then comes Neti. Neti says, because you had Idagama here, Sich Idagama, so Neti comes and stops it. Then comes 7 to 7. Ato halade lagoho. Ato halade lagoho. If you have, because dhatu in the has, we have a angam beginning with a hal. Haladi angam. And then it is also has a lagu akara in there. So that will take vikalpena vriddhi by 7 to 7. Vikalpena vriddhi prapta. Tadapi sapi nishidyate. Sapi nishidyate. Even that vikalpena vriddhi is totally prohibited now by 7 to 5. Myantakshana shvasajjagru nishvyejitam. Shvyejitam. Because edit dhatu ho. So one more time is that we would have had the vriddhi adesha first of all by, remember the 7 to 1 Sicha Vuddhi Prasya only applies with Igantamangam. This Angam is not Igantamangam. But we would have had 7 to 3 Vada Vrajahalantasyachaha. But then Neti stops that 7 to 4. Then comes 7 to 7 Ato halade lagoho. Because we do have a lagu akaraha. We do have haladi angam. So then we would have come vikalpana vriddhi. And we so, but then finally comes Myantakshana Swasajagru Nishvyejitam. He stops the vriddhi completely. Then we just get the Adagamaha, Anubandha Lopaha, and then of course Ita Iti, and then the Vartikam Sijlopa Ekadesh Siddhovacha, we get Ahasit. So there is no vriddhi at all over here in Ahasit. Because 7 to 3, Vada Vrajahalantasyacha was stopped by Neti, then 7 to 7. Atohalade logo was stopped by 7 to 5. Okay. Anyway, this is not in the book, so I just put it here like that. Sutam Jalo Jali, I think we already in the previous class. We can do it again one more time. Jalaf Parasya Sasya Lopo Jali. The Sakara of basically is Sich, even though it doesn't say Sichaha, but from the Mahabhashya and is only for Sich. Sakara of Sich is rided. It is preceded by and followed by Jal letters. Basically, Sakara of Sich is sandwiched between two Jal letters. It takes Lopa. We already have seen this sutram, this sutra Tritayam, set of 3 rows. After Dicha comes Jalo Jali, Rasvadangat, and then Ita Iti. These 3 rows. So I think we already used the Jalo Jali. I think on this page over here, we used that already. Yeah, see Jalo Jali. We did Ashapta. We did that from last class. We used Jalo Jali. But anyway, so we'll go one more time quickly over here. Is that Jalaf Parasya Sasya Lopo Jali. The Sakara of Sich is added. It's sandwiched between 2 Jal letters. So if you take the Dhatu Vassa Nivase, take Lung Karti Prayagaha Pratham Purusha Dvivachanam. So Parasya Badi Dhatu taking Dvivachanam, so we can apply Jalo Jali. So Lung, La, then Tas, because of this is Pratham Purusha Dvivachanam, then Tasasthamipam Tam Tam Tamaha, then of course Vibhakta Tusmaha stops Isanya for the Makaraha, and Chilungi, Chile Sich, Anubandha Lopaha, and then comes Sasyarda Dhatuke, which is 7449. If you have a Sakaraha at the end of an Angam, which is followed by the Sakaraha of a Ardha Dhatuka Pratyaha, then that prior Sakaraha takes the Takara Desha. So Sasya Tasyat, Sada Vardha Dhatuke. So Sakara of an Angam is replaced by Takara and followed by a Pratya, which is the Sanya of Ardha Dhatukam, which is Sakaradi. So here we have Vas plus Sakara of Sich. Of course, Sich is Ardha Dhatukam Shesha. It's Ardhaka Pratyaha. So the Sakara of Vas takes a Takara Desha by Sasyardha Dhatuke. We get Vatsata. And now comes Vada Vrajahalantasyacha. This cannot be stopped because we don't have an Idagamaha. Remember, Idagamaha is Gasvasati Dvau. Because this Dhatu Vas is a Anudatu Padesha. Because Gasvasati Dvau. So this Vasanivase is a Anudatu Padesha. So no Idagamaha. So we have Vriddhi Adesha, Vada Braja Halantasyachaha, we have Halantam Angam, followed by Sitcha, followed by Parasmapadam, then the Ach takes Vriddhi becomes Vat Sa Tam. And now, of course, we take the Adagamaha, Lunglang Ring Shvardataha, Adyadotakitau Anubandalopaha. And now what do we have? We have a Vat Sa Tam. So we have the Sakara of Sitcha sandwiched between two jal letters. This takara, takara of tam and takara of dhatu. So become avattam, avattam. And we already use this form in this book. Already we have used this in the prior page in this form, ashapta, and so on. Okay, now we are going to go to a next form. Let me see in the book where he has put that. I think he has put that on the next page. Next page. So. Okay, this is point 222 now. Point 222. Okay, one thing which I missed is in this one he has put a point on the next page. Okay, let's go to page 222 now. Page 156. Point 222, page 156. Before we go there, he has put irregularities. I don't know why he put Mada. I don't know. I think it's Vraja. Vada Vraja Halantasya. So Vraja and Vada take Vriddhi Prasyapadam. Right? So I don't know why I put Mada, I don't know why I put that. It's Vraja. So Avadit, Vraja, Avrajit and Avadit. So the 7 to 3, which of course we've been using all along. Vada Vraja Halantasyachaha. Vada Vraja Halantasyachaha. I don't know why in the book he has put Mada. I don't know why he came right. That may be a typo. That looks like a typo to me. Looks like a typo. So the sutram only says Vada Vraja Halantasyachaha. Avrajit. So may please change that to Avadit and Avrajit. Okay, now the question is that this already we have done in the class last time, but since the point is coming in the book again, we're on the top of page 156 is the last point from the point number 221. And the sutram already we saw in the class, we have used it a few times already, is 723. In fact, we just used it also in this form, Avattam. So 723. Vada Vraja Halantasyachaha. Vada Vraja Halantasyachaha. 7 2 3. Okay. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. Vada Vraja Halantasyachaha. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. 7 2 3. The question is that why do we need a special mention of Vada and Vraja? Because look at this note over here. The roots Vada and Vraja end in a consonant also. There was no need to mention these roots specifically because already we said Halantasya. But then what would have happened is that, but if these roots were not mentioned, then by neti, the Vriddhi would have been prohibited. And then by Atohala de Lagoho, basically the same thing that we had for this Patha would have happened to them also. We'd have got two, just like in Patha, we got these two forms, Apatit and Apartit. The same thing would have happened for Vada and Vraja also. You understand that what would have happened, because these are going to take, they're set. They don't have, because in our list of Anudat Upadeshaha, we don't have that, because Danteshu, what do we have? Danteshu we have Ada, Kshuda, Kida, Chida, Tuda, Nuda, Padya, Bida, Vidya. So Vada is not there. And then Vraja, Janteshu. Tyaja, Nijir, Bhaja, Bhanja, Bhuja, Bhrashja, Mashcha, Yaja, Yuja, Ruja, Ranja, Vijara. Vraja is not there. So these dhatus are going to allow the idagamaha. So just like we had in the case of Patha, the same thing would have happened for Vada and Vraja. So even though you might think, what's the point of saying Vada, Vraja, Halantasyachaha, when the sutram already says Halantasya? Because of the fact that neti would have stopped that 7 to 3. And then we would have had the vikalpe na vriddhi by 7 to 7. Ato halade lagoho. But atra vriddhi nityam ishyate. We want to get the vriddhi adeshaha necessarily. So that is why Panini puts Vada and Vraja in the sutram 7 to 3 specifically. in order to not get Vikalpena Vriddhi by 7 to 7, but get the Nityam Vriddhi. Okay, so that because Vachana Samarthya, the fact that Panini specifically has put Vada and Vraja in the 7 to 3 means that he should take the Vriddhi Adesha necessarily. So, says the verbal roots Vada and Vraja end in a consonant also. There was no need to mention these specifically. If these were not mentioned, then Neti would stop the Vriddhi. Then Atohalade Lagoho would have get the optional Vriddhi, but we want to get Vriddhi necessarily. That's why it's in this section. So the steps are the same as Apartit. Only thing is that there will be no Vikalpa will not be there. You'll only get one form, Avadit and Avradit. So Satam, Ritamavadisham, Satyamavadisham, right? Avadisham. If you heard the Shanti mantra, right? Avadisham. That is the sutra. Vada Prajalantasyajaha. Okay, so that is on top of page, this one, on top of page 156. I don't know why he has put the mother, I don't know that. I think it should be Vraja. Now, okay, now this form here. So now we are moving on to point number 222, what is called the so-called fourth form. Now remember that in the prior points, he specifically excluded the dhatus ending in akaraha. Okay, the reason was that we are going to see a special key because in point number 221, vav is other than akaraha. Also in point number 220, other than akaraha. The reason is that now we're going to see a special rule for these. So now we say the fourth form is characterized insertion of sish. It's not really sish. We're going to see the angam takes the sak agamaha and the sich takes the idagamaha. That's what's happening. So it's not really sish as such. It is the angam takes the sak agamaha. By adyanta or takita, it goes to the end of the angam, and the sich takes the idagamaha. Only a few. Okay, let's look at the sutram here itself. Let's go to this one now, and let us continue with the document. Let's look at this one. It says that Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha. Now look at the number, by the way. It's 7 to 73. So this comes in the section of the idagama, doesn't it? Because of course we know 7 to 35. So this sutram should be just talking about the idagama. But on top of that, Panini puts tat sanyogena. In connection with that, Panini also prescribes a sak agama for the angam. So this is doing two things. Esham sak syat, then ebhyasichaha it syat, parasepadesho. So basically, if you have one of these dhatus, yam, ram, or nam. Now, let's go to our wall, Vyakarana Bhitti, where we have Manteshu, Gama, Nama, Yama, Ramaschattvaraha. So Nam, Yam, and Ram, they were all Anudattupadeshaha. So if we did not have this Vishesha Vidhanam, they would not have allowed idagama at all. But now Parasya Padesh, when Parasya Padam, they do allow idagamaha. Not only that, the angam takes, and also atam. Dhatu ending in akaraha. Same thing there, because we just saw it, dhatu da, right? Ending in akara, we just had the example today. So what happens is that this is udrudantahi, etc. This akaranta dhatu is not there. So they also would not have idagamaha. But then what about the dhatu da which we did today? We did the form adat. That was a special sutram which we had. Gu mast, this is the gatistha gupa bhubhya chichaf prasapadesho. Because Panini specifically put this dhatu in. When there is a vishesh vidhanam, it cannot be vyartham. So in the case of dhatu da and dha, Panini specifically has put this sijluk by 72477. So those are exceptions, because they are gatistha gupa bhubhya. So these are exceptions, okay. But otherwise, if you have any akaranta dhatuho, as well as a dhatuho, which is yama, rama, nama, then the sich takes the idagama, which it would not have got, because 7 to 10 would have blocked it. Not only that, the angam takes the sakagama. So one more time, yama, rama, namatam, sakcha. This sutram is in the Idagama Prakaranam in 7273, because these dhatus would not have allowed Idagama normally, because 7 to the Anudatta so 7 to 10 would block the Idagama. But now this specific sutram says that following these dhatus, this sich, which is followed by Parasyapadam, such a sich, which is the Idagama, and the Angam takes the Sak Agama. So Esham dhatu, Esham Anganam, Sak Agama Syat, Ebhya Parasya Sichaha it Syat. So sich takes the Idagama, Angam takes the Sak Agama. But Parasya Padesho. When followed by Parasya Padam affixed, the affix sich takes the argument it follows the Angam, which is either ends in a Akaraha, so Atam, or consists of either Yam, Ram, or Nam. And simultaneously the Angam takes the Sak Agama. Okay, so let's see from Agasita. Dhatu Gai Shabde, okay, Gayati, right? It's very, very famous Dhatu. So Gayati, now what happens here is that because the Gai Shabde, first of all we get Adech Upadesha Shiti. Never forget that sutram, that any Dhatu ending in a H immediately becomes the Akaranta Dhatu, as long as we don't have a Talavya Shakar as an It following. Adech Upadesha Shiti. So always, if you have a Dhatu ending in a H, and we know we are not going to have a Talavya Shakar as an It following, Adech Upadesha Shiti. Adech Upadesha Shiti. This Dhatu will become a Akaranta Dhatu. So what, if we can go quickly over here, I think it's probably here. Adech Upadesha Shiti, Adech Upadesha Shiti, Adech Upadesha, maybe okay, the second document. Okay, Adech Upadesha Shiti, Adech Upadesha Shiti, Adech Upadesha Shiti. So, Adech Upadesha Shiti, Adech Upadesha. Upadesha Ajantasya, which means that it should be in Upadesha. If you take Dhatu Bhu and make it from Bhavishyati, you do the Guna Adesha becomes Bho, that is not Upadesha. That Bhu becoming Bho is because of Guna Adesha. It is not Upadesha Dhatu is still Bhu. So after you do Guna Adesha, Bho doesn't become Bha again. Because it should be Upadesha, it should be Ajantaha. So Upadesha Ajantasya Dhatu or Attam Natushiti. So here with Dhatu Gai Shabde, we know we're not going to having any pratyaya which has this beginning with the Talavya Shakar as an It. So therefore, we do, before starting itself, make it into Ga Adesha. So we know the Vivaksha is going to be such, we're not going to be having a Talavya Shakar as an It following, so we could the Ga Adesha by Adech Upadesha Shiti. And then we bring in the Lung for the usual steps, Anubandha Lopaha, Tibba Adeshaha, Anubandha Lopaha, Itascha, Chilungi, Chilesich, and then Anubandha Lopaha. Now what happens is that because the 7 to 10, because this Dhatu is Anudatta Padesha, blocks 7 to 35, Azadhatu Kasir Valadehi. But then comes the specific rule, Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha, Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha, Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha. We get the Idagamaha. No, but before that we can finish up this one. Astisicho Prukte, Idagamaha for the Aprukta Takaraha, and then of course Adinto Takitau and Lopaha. So you got Ga Sa It. Now comes Yama Rama Namatam Sakcha. So two things happen here. The Sich takes the Idagamaha, which it would not have taken because 7 to 10 has blocked 7 to 35. But by the special rule, the Sich takes the Idagamaha, Angam takes the Sak Agamaha. Angam takes the Sak Agamaha. Of course, Adinto Takitau. So the Sak joins at the end of the Angam, while the It, of course, joins the beginning of Sich. Then the Anubandha Lopaha, the Akara of Sak is Ucharanartha. It's only for pronunciation. Agama is only Sakara only. It's only a Sa. So now we get Gas is It. Then of course Adagamaha, Lung Rang Rang Shvadataha. And then Anubandha Lopaha. Then Ita Iti, Sich Lop, Sakar Lopaha. And then followed by the Vartikam Sijlopa Ekadeshe Siddho Vachaha. then we get akasame dirgha, agasit. Okay, so what is the special thing here? Special thing here is that yama rama namatam sakcha. If you have one of these three dhatus, yam, ram, or nam, or dhatu ending in akaraha, followed by sich, then the sich takes the ragamaha, which it normally would not have, and then angam takes a sak agamaha. So that's what is the special form here. That's what's given in the book. So the sutram is 7273. 7273. So in the book, what do we have? We have in point number 222 is so-called fourth form, characterized by the insertion of, it's not really a sish as such, it is a combination of the angam taking the sak and the sich taking the idagamaha. So this is not really correct, because the angam got the sak agamaha, sich got the idagamaha, but it's put in short like that, sish. And only a few roots ending in nakar. It's not a few roots, yama, rama, nama, and then atam. All roots ending in akara takes this form, unless there's some other exception like we saw 2477 or something like that. Dhatu ending akara, but parasya padeshu will take this form, and also yama, rama, nama. There's no atmanipadam because we just said parasya padeshu. First termination, those are the imperfect. Again, he keeps on saying the same thing over and over again. It's the exact same thing. But basically what he means is that the angam does not end in the akaraha. Terminations are all the same. And again the same, the idagamaha, sisichoprukta. This thing is just the same thing in the last 2 points. Nothing special here. And of course we get the jer, sijabhyasta vidibhyascha, jus adesha for G. Nothing special in this point number 2. And of course the adagamaha. So this is all, you don't have to repeat these 2 points. If we take the dhatu ya, okay, now okay, we get we just did the form agasit, so we get ayasit in the same way. Agasit, ayasit. Let's say what did we have just now? We just did this form just now. We got the form agasit, right? Agasit we got because after the sakar of sich took lopaha, we got that form. So same, all the same steps over here. Of course, this dhatu ends in akar already. We don't have to apply the adesh, upadesha, shiti is not used here. But otherwise, the steps are all the same. We got ayasit. The remaining form, what happens here? We get ayasis is common, because the angam gets the sak agamaha, the sich takes the idagamaha. By 7273, yama, rama, nama, tam, sakcha. So ayas is. That's the common work, is samanya karyam. Ayasis, then of course tastastamipam tam tam tamaha. We get the tama deshaha. Then nabibhaktau to smaha. This makara is not an it. Then of course adesha pratyayoho sunashtuho. So ayasishtam. Then ayas is by G. Sijabhyasta vidibhyascha. Sijabhyasta vidibhyascha. The G takes the jus adeshaha by chutu and the lopaha. Lutta visargao. So basically we are applying the same sutram 34109 sijabhyasta vidibhyascha. So we get ayasishoho. Then we get ayasihi, same as ayasit, all the same steps. Ayasishtam, very similar to ayasishtam, ayasishta. Ayas is plus mip, tastastamipam tam tam tamaha. And of course adeshapatyayoho ayasisham. And same thing, navibhaktau to smaha. Ayasishva, ayasishma, nothing special. Just adeshapatyayoho. Okay, now the thing is that is dhatu ram. Dhatu ram. Now this dhatu ram is atmanipadi dhatu. Let's look at dhatu partaha. So in dhatu part. So where will you get parasya padam for this now? Because the sutra is parasya padeshu. The dhatu ram is only atmanipadi. Then what's the point of saying parasya padeshu? Doesn't make any sense. But ram. So if you take dhatu ram, let's look at this dhatu number over here. Ram. Ram is Ramukrida is 1.989. Look at the dhatu partaha in 989. Let's see what kind of swara this dhatu has. 1.989, let us see what he has. 1.989, he has the is anudatta it ramukridayam. So by anudatta gnita atmanipadam, you should take only atmanipadam. But then what's the point in saying yama rama namatam sakcha when for parasyapadam? The reason is that anudatta gnita atmanipadam is a general rule, but then comes specific rule. For example, you have a rule over here 1383 which says that vyang paribhyo ramaha, vi, ang and pari. So if you add with the upasarga vi, ang or pari, then following ram takes parasyapadam. Vyang paribhyo ramaha. So that even though we have ramate, becomes viramati. So I remember in one of my very old Sanskrit classes, the professor said viramami, atta viramami. We will stop here. So I am stopping here. Atta viramami. Then I thought I would be very smart and try to correct him. Say this Ratu Ram is Anudatta Itta. So it should be Anudatta Itta Atmanipadam. But then he told me no. Because this sutram, Vyang Paribhyo Ramaha. I will never forget this sutram. Because at that time I tried to correct him by saying it is going to be Atmanipadam. But of course I didn't know this sutram. I mean, I should have known this sutram, but I didn't. So, Vyang Paribhyo Rama. The point is that Ram takes parasyapadam and followed by Vi, Ang or Pari. So, therefore, even though it seems like in this sutram which we just studied, it looks like this mention of this Ram is useless, but it's not like that. Because it will take parasyapadam. Vyang Paribhyo. So, for example, by this 1383, just I put in the book here, Vyaram Seet. Say Vi Ram Seet. Vi Aram Seet. Just like we have Aya Seet, we have Aram Seet. Preceded by the V. Because preceded by V will take Prasyapadam. Vyaram Seet. Okay. So, by 1383. Now, if you go to the sutram for 1 second here, this is only, all this is only when we have the parasyapadam. If you don't have parasyapadam, it says parasyapadishityeva ayamsta. Let's look at this one, dhatu yam, right? Dhatu yam. Let's take this one, aramsta. In this case, we will not get this. The situ doesn't take idagamaha. And the angam doesn't take the sakagamaha aramsta, because of the fact that this is not parasyapadeshu. So this sutram yama rama namatam sakcha is only parasyapadesh. So this is not happening. Okay, so that completes this form. This completes this section of number 222. Okay, so basically only one sutram, 7273 yama rama namatam sakcha. Now let's continue in the document. Let us continue from here. Let's see what we have. Okay. Now let's continue. Now we are going to the next section in the book. We are now going to the section what we call the second variety of aorist, the first form. So we are now going to point number 223 on page number 156. Okay. So we are now going to this point 223. So let us look at this, what is called the second variety. Second variety basically is, so far we had the sich, we had a sakara in some form. But these now, the second, so-called second variety now, we are not going to have that. We already studied this number 244 when sich look takes place. When we did the form, we have already studied this number 224 when sich look takes place. Now we're going to study a form where instead of getting chile sich, you will get the angadesha. That's what's called the second variety, he calls second variety. Second variety basically means the sakara of sich is not there. Or sakara of, basically we're going to see another sutram maybe in the next class now, which is going to be the pratyaya. Okay, let's come here for 1 second. This second variety, is basically when the sakara and the pratyaya is not there. That's called I think is what is called the second variety. There's no such thing as first variety, second variety. In the book, he has put like that the first variety, when the sakara, the pratyaya, is there is a sakara and the pratyaya. The second variety, it is not there. So, coming back to the same section from the Chile Sich, which is 3144, so that Sich, either the Sich is not there, been overruled, or has taken the look elision that we already saw in the previous class by 2477. Also is Pratyaksa, which you're going to see in the next class, also is not there. Basically, the Pratyaya doesn't have a sakara. Okay, right now we're going to begin this section from the so-called second variety, when we are going to get the Ang. Ang is one of those second varieties, the first form in the second variety. Rather than getting Chile Sich, we get the Ang substitution place of Chile. Okay, let's start it today and let's see how far we can go. So, sutram is Asyati Vyakti Khyati Bhyong. Asyati Vyakti Khyati Bhyong. Asyati Vyakti Khyati Bhyong. Asyati Vyakti Khyati Bhyong. Okay. Now, Ebhyash Chilehe Ang Syat Kartari Lungi. Okay. In the active voice, the affix Chili, instead of taking Chile Sich, this is the easiest form of Lung, really. Because the fact that Ang comes in there, Ang is a very friendly pratyaya. It's because there is no idagamaha. Because Ang begins with akara, it's not valadi. Second thing is kavarga panchama is an it. It's a nit pratyaya. There's going to be no gunavriddhi. There's nothing. So no gunavriddhi. There's going to be no adagamaha. No idagamaha, no idagamaha. And no sich, so that we don't have to worry about this complication of this sich with the prasapadeshu, the ita iti, jalo jali, nothing like that. So it's the simplest form of Lung. So basically we're going to get an angam ending in akaraha, just like we got in the Lung situation. Like when we got, okay, let's continue. So basically here, this instead of getting Chile Sich, we get the Angadesha. And 3152 opens up a section in Ashtadhyayi which goes from 52 to 59. Okay, we're going to focus on this section right now. It gives us an apavada for Chile Sich. We get the Ang Adesha in place of Chili. Okay, so in the active voice, the affix Chili is substitute Ang. When following the verbal root asukshepane, asyati. This is not the asbhuvi. Asukshepane. Asyati because divadigana. You see, asyati. Asukshepane. Divadigana because Panini mentions asyati with gana vikaranaha shan. This is divadigana. Vacha paribhashane. As well as the vach which comes in the place of brewing by bruo vachihi. When we saw bruo vachihi is 2453. In place of brew we get the vacha desha adhatuka vivakshaya. And then also kya, the kya which comes in place of chakshing kya. That's by 2454. This kya comes in place of chakshing. Place of chakshing comes kya. By 2454 we get kya. By chakshing kya. Now, one small technical point here is that, now what about the dhatu kya itself? We just said that this kya stands for the kya which comes in place of chakshing. But in dhatu partha itself, we have the dhatu kya. What about that? Doesn't that also include in this one? It is not. According to Mahabhashyam, this dhatu kya itself does not come under this rule. So wherever we see a kya taking the with the ang, we have to understand that that is the forms from the chakshingya khyang. So here when we have this one over here kya, 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 kya. Khyai, 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 khyai. See, kya prakratane, kya prakratane. So this dhatu is there in dhatu patha. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure of that. I don't want to say. So asyati vakti khyati bhyong. Following these three dhatus, the instead of getting chile sich, the chili is going to take the angadesha. Okay, this angadesha. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just confirm this. This khyai. Chakshinga khyai. Chakshinga khyai. Asyati vakti khyati bhyong. Okay, one more point is here is that, okay, we'll come to that point later on. Okay, apparently this kya prakratane is only used when the pratyaya following has the sarvadhatuka sanya. So kya prakratane itself is only sarvadhatuka vishayakaha. It's only used when the pratyaya is for sarvadhatukam. So wherever you see this kya being used, and the pratyaya is following is not sarvadhatukam, it's ardhatuka pratyaya, then we have to take that is really an adesha for chakshingya khyai. Okay, so there's a small complication here is that the kya which is mentioned in this rule, asyati vakti khyati bhyong. Of course, clearly right now we don't have pratyaya which is sarvadhatukam because we have chili. And so the chili of course is by ardhatukam shesha. So we have to understand that this kya mentioned in this rule is not this kya prakratane, because this kya prakratane according to Mahabhashyam is only to be used sarvadhatuka. Only when sarvadhatukam is being used, but sarvadhatukam follows. Otherwise, no. So this one is the one which is meant here. Okay, anyway, so coming back to Sutram, now what does it say? Very simple Sutram, asyati vyakti khyati bhyong, ebhyaha chilehe ang syat. Kartari lungi, should be kartari, but should be kartari lungi. Okay, now let us continue from here. So let's take a simple example. Let's take avochata, avocham, avochata, avochat, let's take avochat. Now, this dhatu vacha is being mentioned, vakti is being mentioned, vakti. So, asyati vakti khyati bhyong. So, vakti is here. So, for usual steps, when you say lung, anubandha lopaha, get the tiba deshaha, then anubandha lopaha, itascha, then chi lungi. Now, instead of getting chile sich, we get asyati vakti khyati bhyong. We get the anga deshaha, anubandha lopaha. And we get like that. Now becomes a special rule which says vacha Now when we get the ang substitution, the good news is that there is no problem of idagamaha, no problem about gunavriddhi, no problem about sichibuddhi prasyapadeshu, but we do have this panchasutri set of 5 rules we have specifically for an angam which precedes the ang. And there, from this one, ru drishungi gunaha, asyate sthuk, shvayate raha, pataha pum, and vacha So one more time. We have these 5 special rules, panchasutri. When we have an angam, which is followed by this ang, and this ang followed by, we have, interesting, we have an angam followed by ang. An angam followed by ang. Then the angam has these 5 special rules. Rudrisho gunaha, asyate sthuk, shvayate raha, pataf and vacha Today that time we need this one. Vacha Very simple. Sutram is that this, if the angam, which is vacha, it takes the agamaha. Vidachuantyat paraha. When followed by ang. So anuvitya of angi is coming here. So right now we had vacha ta. There comes vacha Angi pare, very simple. An angam consisting of the verbal root vacha paribhashane as well as the vacha adesha which comes in place of bru by bruvo vachi. takes the augment when followed by anga. In Bhruva Vachi he says what? This dhatu bring vyakyam vachi takes vach adeshaha ardhadhatika vivakshayam. So if we know we're going to add pratyaya which is ardhadhatikam, then we have to make bru into vach. So we had vach now get the agamaha by vidachantyat paraha anubandha lopaha. Then of course ad gunaha as per vidachantyat paraha, this joined after the last vowel of vach, which is after the akaraha, and so we get va u cha at, then ad gunaha vo chat. Now of course adagamaha lung rang rang fradata anubandha lopa avochat. So one more time, the sutram, instead of getting chili becoming sich, following these three dhatus, chili takes the ang adesha. When ang adesha comes, we get the special sutram vacha we get the agamaha for the angam which is vacha, and then adgunaha we get avochat. Now in the book what he has put, let's see what he has put in the book. He says the root remains unchanged. What he's saying is that because the ang has the kavarga panchama as an it, so therefore by kiniticha there is no guna vriddhi. And of course we don't have sich at all over here, so there's no question about the sichi vriddhi parasapadesh, all that is not there at all. Termination imperfect of the first conjugation. Why does he say first conjugation? Because of the fact that we have an angam ending in akara, adantam angam. So therefore he talks about like the first conjugation, like apatat, apatatam, apatan, apataha, apatatam, apatata, apatam, apatavava, apatava, apatama. So same thing here. Avochat, avochatam, avochan, avochaha, avochatam, avochata, avocham, avochava, avochama. Because exactly the same things happen here, nothing special. So, and of course the adagamaha. So what he says that terminations of the first conjugation, or what he means simply is that we don't have any shab pratyaya here, but all he means is that we have an angam ending in an akara. Just as when we had the shab antam angam, we have an angantam angam. The only common thing is that ends in an akara. So when you have the intermediary a is dropped because of amipurvaha and atogune and then we have the ato dirgho yai. So this is all not necessary for us. See, all these points are not necessary for us because if you do the Paninian way, all these rules already we know. Amipurvaha, atogune, atogune we know, and we also know the ato dirgho yai. So these are all common rules, nothing special. So these ato gune, of course, in the ato dirgho yai 7-3 yayado sarvadhatuke ato dirgho yai. These all these rules, we don't have to keep on repeating them. So like 7-3 101, we have seen this many times. 7-3 101, 7-3 101 ato dirgho yai. So it says that Atongasya dirghasya yayado sarvadhatuke. So because remember, even though the sich or the ang or the chili, they get the sanya of ardhadhatukam, but the tiptajji, that is still sarvadhatukam. Okay, so don't forget that. So ato dirgho yai will definitely apply over here. Okay, let's look at the example in the book. The augment is prefixed to the verb. This is conjugated exactly as the imperfect sixth conjugation. Why sixth conjugation? Because the fact that when you add the pratyaya sha, it is because sarvadhatukam apit is gnitvat. Same thing here. We added the chili became ang. That ang is a gnit, so no guna vriddhi. That's why he says like sixth conjugation. Otherwise, there's no connection here really. But only thing is that just like the pratyaya sha is sarvadhatukam apit gnitvat, similarly ang is gnit sakshat gnit. Okay, now we'll come to this in the next class because time is running out. We'll look at this. In fact, for homework, take 6-4-64. Ato lopa iticha. We get akhyam akhyava, and then okay. Right now we looked at the dhatu, which we looked at just now. We got avocham, avochava, avochama. Here ato dirgho yahi, ato dirgho yahi. So basically once you get avochat, with the same like template like you got in the bhuvadi ganaha, you got apatat, apatatam, tassastamipam tam tam tamaha. So you get avochat, avochatam, but tassastamipam tam tam tamaha, avochan. Because of jontaha, itascha, sanyogantasya lopaha, and atogune. So nothing special, no new rules. But avocha ji, jontaha, avocha anti, itascha, avocha ant. Then atogune, avochant. Then sanyogantasya lopaha, avochan. Then avochaha, same steps as avochat. Avochatam, avochata, tassastamipam tam tam tamaha, avocham, same thing, atogune, tassastamipam tam tam tamaha, avochava, avochama, nityam nyataha, the ending sakara goes away, and then ato dirgho yahi, ato dirgho yahi. Okay, now let's look at the, okay, maybe we have 5 minutes left. Alright, let us come here and let us see Chakshing Yakhyai. We just talked about this sutram right now. When the intention is to add this ardhatuka pratyaya. Remember this section that we have looked at quite a few times already? Is a section called ardhadhatukam. It starts from 2435. Starts adhikar of ardhadhatuke. 2435 starts ardhadhatuke. It tells us that these various dhatus, they take a substitute, an outright substitute. When the intention is to add a pratyaha which has a sanya of ardhadhatukam. This goes from 2435 up to 2435. I think is it 57. 35 to 57 starts adhikar of ardhadhatuke. Ardhadhatuke starts here. And there we have a sutram, this ardhadhatuke. Ardhatuke also comes in Angasya Adhikara from 6446. That's for the Anga Karya. But this Ardhatuke, when the Dhatu takes the Adesha, when the intention is to add a Pratyaya, which is Ardhadhatukam. And there we have a Sutra, we say Chakshing Yakhyai. Chakshing. If we studied Aster Bhu, we have studied, Bhu Vache, we have studied, and Nakam Chakshing Khyai. Now, as I also mentioned to you right now, is the sutram asyati vakti khyati bhyong. Doesn't apply to the dhatu kya prakritana itself, because that dhatu is, according to Mahabhashyam, is only used in the context of sarvadhatukam. Sarvadhatukam follows. But so this one is not what is meant here. We are going to issue this sutram here. So basically, very simple sutram, when the intention is to add ardhadhatukam pratyaha, ardhadhatukam, then this chakshing vyakta and vachi takes the khyai. Now this khyai has a cha varga panchama as an it. Suritagnyataha kritavipraya kriya phale, it can take atmanipadam, and by sheshat kriti parasyapadam, it can take parasyapadam. Basically it becomes ubhaypadi. Even though chakshing is a kavarga panchama as an it, so normally you had only atmanipadam, anudatagnata atmanipadam. But khyai as a cha varga panchama as an it, so therefore we get Suritagnyataha kritivipraya kriya phale as well as sheshat kriti parasyapadam, we get both the form. As we put over here, it's ubhaypadi. Now let's look at this form and then we can stop because time is running out. Let's look at a Kati Pragaha Prathapurushaha Ekvachanam. Follow all the simple steps. Now immediately we start itself with Chakhyai, because we know the intention is to add a Pratyaha which is Ardhadhatukam. We don't have a Sarvadhika Pratyaya following. We're going to get the chili. So we start with Khyai itself by Chakshing Yakhyai. So Lung by Chakshing Khyai, and then Anekashi Sarvasya, then Lung, Alubandha Lopaha, by Tip. You can take Atmanipadam, Parasyapadam both, because as I said, because of Sheshat Krati Parasyapadam, and then Suritagnyataha Krati Vipraya Kriya Phale Atmanipadam, we can take Tip or Ta, Alubandha Lopaha. In the case of Tip, we do Itascha, Chilungi, and then instead of getting Chile Sich, special sutram asyati vakti khyati bhyong. She takes the angadeshaha, anubandha lopaha, and then ato lopa iticha. Ato lopa iticha. So we have an adantam angam. Nothing new. See, now we can use all these rules now. Forward pratyaya, which is sanya of ardhadhatu. Interestingly, this is the second adhikara of ardhadhatuke. We just applied this sutram chakshinya khyai, which is in the first ardhadhatuke, which is from 2-3-35 onwards. But this one, ato lopa iticha, very nicely, in the same example, we are using both the adhikaras of ardhadhatuke. This ato lopa iticha comes in the second ardhadhatuke, which starts from 6-4-46, starts this adhikara of ardhadhatuke. In that we have ato lopa iticha. Ajanta, if you have adanta mangam, followed by the ajadi pratyaya, which is sanya of ardhadhatukam, and it is either kitnit or idagamaha, and the angam takes lopaha. Angam takes lopaha, of course, by alontyasya. Alontyasya, it's only the ending akara takes lopaha by ato lopa iticha, ato lopa iticha, ato lopa iticha, ato. And it's nothing new, it's the old sutram that we have studied. Ato lopa iticha says that ajadyor ardhadhatukayoho kinititoho. It should be kitnit or have idagamaha. Parayoho ataha lopaha. The ending akara alontyasya, nangam takes lopa, followed by a pratyaya which is ardhadhatukam, which begins with a vowel, either as kitnit or as idagamaha. Right now it is a kavarga panchama is an it, as ang we have. So the angam takes lopaha by alontyasya, the akara takes lopaha, then adagamaha, and we get akhyat, akhyata. Okay, let's stop with that now. So we are in the book right now in this second variety, so-called second variety, in the first form. So we just finished this form right now about how kya, which comes in place of jakshin, jakshin, how it doesn't shorten. You can please correct the book. It doesn't shorten. Basically, ato lopa iticha. That akara takes lopa because we have the pratyaya ang falling, which is ajadi ardhadhatuka pratyaya. It's a nit pratyaya. So please make a correction here. It's not shortening of kya. It's basically lopa of the akara. We get akhyat and akhyata. Similarly, akhyam, akhyava, akhyama. Same. Once you get the angam akhya, then we can just put the same things, akhyam, akhyava, akhyama. Of course, here we get ato dirgho yain. Okay, let's stop here. For homework, please please look at this section, this Panchasutri, which is, we did the Vacha today. For homework, you can take these 7-4. Today we did 7-4-20 in the class. If you can take this one, 7-4-17 and 7-4-19 and also 7-4-16 for homework. Okay, let's stop with that now. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Vijay Ramena Vihata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama